The same way which I'm writing in a Spark SQL, they're using the DEX functionality. So then we have to take care a lot of things while we publish our report in a Power BI server. In local system, you hardly get anything. Second issues. Let's talk about the second issues as I talk about data, getting the data. So for example, I have a database and the database in a AWS or Azure or any cloud. So while I'm getting the data, then another issue will come, like it will not connect properly. You might be thinking it is connect properly, but something which is missing. So you have to always take care of those error. So you have to, two things you have to always take care. First, either it issues from your side, like while you connecting. So from your side, only two issue will come. Either is the credential things or your server ID is not active. But mostly issues from the cloud team side. So these things we have to always take care. I would recommend you can go to this Power BI architecture official by Microsoft. You can go with the Microsoft. They have lot of architecture here, BI solution architect. So they will describe how it will work. So Power BI comes last of each of architecture. Any architecture you choose, like either SAP, either automation tools, Salesforce, any tools you will choose, you will find out that architectures comes Power BI comes very last, like very last of that particular architecture. Before that, it will be always about how to get the data, how to build the data, how to make a pipeline of it, how to do how to provide a like a platform to a developer. So these things comes first, and Power BI comes very last. So Power BI just, we have the data and we want to implement that particular in like for the ETL things and the data analysis. Okay, so these things, if you see here, okay, it's a very small architecture. So if you see, we have this cloud here, then here we have big data or data preparations, then they have a data storage here, we have a data warehouse. Ignore this machine learning. So machine learning is about like you have a historical data, they train the model and they push again in data warehouse, then you will come to report. In any like platform you will go off on architecture of Power BI, you will find report will come at the last. Means Power BI come at the last. It means whatever you do before that, a lot of things are going on. Okay, how the data is coming, from where it is coming, and how it is coming, and which type of it coming. These things we always take care of it. Okay, because you are working very last stage of the data. You are just implementing your solutions. Once your data is already clean, once you have a proper arranged data, then you are just publishing your report in a Power BI. Okay, so that I said earlier that you need to understand that in Power BI, if you use only for visualization thing, that is just 10%. If you're using as a ETL things, what is ETL extend for? Export, transformation, and load. Okay, we export the data, we transformation the data, and then again we load into the particular system. Okay, so why we need ETL? To get a clean out. For example, we have a 30 columns and unlimited of rows we have, but we don't require all the data. We just require 5-6 columns, and we specific conditions data we required it. So what we do a proper ETL of it, and we get as per our requirement, we get that much data and push in our particular Power BI system, and then we do our analysis. Okay, so before analysis, what we need Power Query for it. Okay, I will show the architecture of Power BI as well, how this will work, but I'm just giving a high level of idea that how you need to understand that how your data is coming up. That is very key important things here. That is very important, actually not key, it's very important that you have to understand how your data is coming up. Okay, so for example, if you don't have the solution also, at least you go some people like those who are working on cloud or those who are working on data warehouse, so you can tell them that this is the issue coming here, this particular part, and you need to check on it, right? Because you cannot deal all those things. You need to understand that from where it issue coming, and you can report the particular issues. Because as like you working as a Power BI, so your job is just to provide a solution to a business which help in a particular business thing. But again, there are a lot of things are going on before your implementation solutions. You understood that part, Vincent?
Yes, Mr. Nagendra. Yeah, little
Okay.
technical, but yes, going through it. Yes.
I'm not okay. If you find any difficulties, let me know. Explain in a proper way. Okay, I will try to explain a more easy way. Let me think one more time. Okay, so suppose there are 5 people, one working on a cloud. Like for example, your company using AWS. Then your company said we want to install MySQL. Okay, for creating a database. It can be any data source. I'm just giving an example. The cloud you're using anything, it just be AWS, because there are a lot of companies using AWS or either Azure. There are very rare companies using GCP or IBM. IBM we used because as an internal resource we can use IBM. So you use AWS. So before installing your MySQL, what we need? We need a server ID. Why we need server ID? So you can like get your data from anywhere, right? To get your data online, so we need a server, right? So what we do, the cloud team, whatever the cloud person, there's a 5 people, right? So one is working on a cloud. So the cloud person, like for example, I'm taking a cloud part first. So what cloud person does, he gives something, like he gives server where all your server ID will run, and he provide you something specific domain or something he provide, he'd give you that particular. Or if he required VPN also, like a specific VPN, it will run to make your data more secure. So he provide all those things. Now, second, what you need a storage as well, right? Storage. For example, in a local system, we install a MySQL. I have a 1 TB of hard disk in my local system. Same it is. If I'm working on a cloud, I need a storage, even though if I'm using MySQL in my local system, because while I'm connecting the server, it will store my data into cloud. Correct? So by default, if for a trial version, if you use AWS, it will give you 20 GB by default for particular MySQL or anything. Let me show you how it looks like, so you will get more idea. So MySQL, you can install anything, even Postgre as well. I'm just giving an example. Okay, in AWS. So if you go to your this, see it's written free database of MySQL. So if you go here, overview, yeah. So here you get, see you will get EC2 like 750 hours. What is it? It is your server running time. Okay, you see your company is running on particular server, so 750 hours you will get free. So sometimes you might be heard that your server will not run on your weekend, right? It will only run Monday to Friday, or after
Yes.
6 o'clock you close, right? Like these things what you heard. This means actually your server, they will close it because it has some cost. Okay. So that is why they run their particular timing of that particular server. So they have to stop their server, otherwise it will cost you more. Then they have RDS. Now RDS has different thing. If you see, both the things are different. EC2 and RDS. In the RDS, if you see here is written manage relational database services, MySQL, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, or SQL Server. There are a lot of things you can deal with, but these are the top things you can deal with RDS, relational database. So if I want to install MySQL here, so I need this RDS, okay, and I need EC2. Let me tell you what is difference between EC2 and RDS as well. It varies from different cloud. I'm just giving an idea, but it will very similar all the clouds. Okay, in Azure they have a different name called data source, resources. Okay, resources management. Okay, let me show you something. My cloud, so you will get little idea, little hands-on. If I give you that, right, so you will get some idea. Yeah, so here you see we have this IBM cloud. Okay, this is my cloud. AWS have a different thing, Azure have a different. See, overview it will be different, means UI will be differ, but overall if you see the things, it will be very similar, okay, to each and every cloud. So here you see I have resources. Let me show you. This is my dashboard. Right now you're seeing this is my dashboard, and if I go to this, for example, if I want to see my resources, okay, so I can go click on my resource list. Resource list means what I'm using it, okay, for particular my cloud. So now you see I have this storage option here. I'm not using all the resources, but for it, if you see, I'm using here my storage. But now you see I have a different options, okay, CDP, Cloud Egg, IBM Cloud, these things. Okay, in these server, my different projects are running. So for example, if I click on this Cloud Egg, okay, now you see while I'm choosing this Cloud Egg, I'm getting a storage here. Okay, and for that storage, if you see, this is still active, right? It means the server is continuously running, and they have a different costs here. If you see dev environment, test environment, and JS. Now I cannot show you the whole thing, but I can just tell you these are my storage, and this storage I have putting here in my some credentials here with using this particular tool, so I can view it my storage cost bucket, cost objective storage, that is the full form of cost cloud objective storage, sorry. So whenever anything will, like I push it in my code or any data, it I can see it here. So if you see, these are my storage here, and this storage, same storage, I am calling it in Jupyter notebook to make my query work, okay, for testing my query. So if you see, I'm giving the path and all. If you see it, I'm giving the path and all. Okay, now this is for testing, remember it. Same way you also do with your MySQL or any other platform you're working it. Now if you're working on Power BI, same thing you have to also do. You have to give the credentials. Okay, if you see, I'm putting here my credentials, and it will be very right, it will be different your credentials. So I have this particular IP address. In this particular IP address, my particular class is running. Your will be differ, your access key and secret keys will be differ. Okay, now the same thing I have to do, I need the cost, and now I can perform my query and I can get the output. This is actually working in a in particular normal cloud. You get now idea, it's not looks more technical. Can now you little understood?
Yes, a bit.
Then same, let me just show you a more easy way. Little IBM cloud is little complicated. So here if you go with the AWS RDS, you install MySQL. In MySQL, install 220 GB. If you see here is written it, 20 GB general purpose SSD database storage you will get. 20 GB storage of data backups of DB snapshot you will get.